Welcome to the NPH Hour on News Talk Saga 960 AM. I'm your host, Jason Tom, as we continue to share stories about, related to, involving Canadian basketball. And I wanted to start off by thanking you, our listeners, for tuning in here on the radio dial or on the North Pole Hoops YouTube channel, Spotify, Google, wherever it may be. I hope these shows bring some insight and education, whether you're a young player, a parent, grandparent, coach, or just someone new to the sport who's curious about everything that's going on in and around it. Last week, we reached out to France and China. Today, we take a visit to Taiwan to check in with Kyle Julius, the general manager of the Fraser Valley Bandits, who made it to the CEBL championship game at last year's Summer Series. Kyle has some great stories and some great advice to the players back here in Canada who need to find ways to get better without being able to actually play the game right now. It's definitely worth your time. We also say hello to Jack Armstrong, who may or may not tell me to get that garbage out of here when I ask him about the NCAA then, when he was a Division I coach, versus now. But first, we talk about the WNBA, which is about a week away from tipping off its 25th season, which may be a shocking number for us Canadians because, frankly, the coverage here north of the border for this groundbreaking league has been terrible. But per usual, we follow the trend of the U.S., and now that they are seeing more interest than ever when it comes to viewership and support, I'm sure we will finally be seeing more and more of the WNBA televised here at home. Currently, there are 3 Canadians that are signed to full WNBA contracts: Kia Nurse with the Phoenix Mercury, while Natalie Ekunwe and Bridget Carleton are both with the Minnesota Lynx. But there is a 4th Canadian striving to be added to that list: British Columbia's Aislinn Konig, who is in training camp with the Washington Mystics, and the player they call Ace, because she's one of the best shooters to come out of Canada, period, is in a better mind space than ever thanks to her time away from North America, which allowed her to fall in love with the game of basketball all over again. Aislinn Konig, British Columbia native, NC State alum, senior women's national team member, and currently in camp with the Washington Mystics, trying to become the 4th Canadian in the WNBA for this coming season. Ace, with the road you've taken, I'm guessing the chance to prove yourself at this level is something you're pretty fired up about.
Absolutely. I mean, after not getting selected in the draft last year, which there were obviously, the draft is always difficult, so there's no guarantees, but there were some expectations there. And, kind of coming out of that draft with a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, having a chance to work that out here is pretty exciting.
But, I mean, it's pretty amazing how life works. I mean, the Mystics had the final selection in that draft. They pass on you at that point, but that sets you up to go overseas, and really that season could not have worked out any better for you, could it?
It really couldn't have. And, looking back on it now with, the 365 days of wisdom that I've gained, I feel like it was a blessing in disguise not getting drafted. I think my mentality, my physical health, all of that is so much better than what it was when I graduated. University is a lot of fun and it is super stressful. You're constantly running around. Everybody's telling you where you have to be, what you have to be doing. All of this pressure all the time. So it gets, by the time you've been there for 4 years, at the end, you're kind of exhausted because it wasn't just about basketball, and rightly so. You need to get a degree, you need to do those important things, but being able to go to Switzerland and just focus on loving basketball and playing it to the highest ability that I can do was an experience that I feel is instrumental in me being able to be here in Washington in this moment.
That's something that I definitely want to hit on when you talk about the NCAA. You're fitting into a team game there and a game plan that is all about the team. And then once that's over, it's now all about you. And how is that switch? It must be kind of hard to turn that off with the questions you're being asked, for example, by a WNBA team, and you're trying to say like, well, no, listen, I can do more, or I can do this. I just wasn't able to show it because of the system I was in.
Yeah, and that was actually discussions that I had with Mike Thibault here, both on the phone before I got here, before I even had any inkling that I was getting a training camp contract to come to Washington, anything. Me and him have had conversations about, why didn't I get drafted? What do I need to do to be in the WNBA, but not only get to the WNBA, but last? Like, how do I become that player? And, that was a lot of conversations, and that was something touched on, and being able to kind of unleash the offense a little bit, unleash the energy, all of that, was something that was incredibly important to my growth, because I played in a system where I was the calming force. My job was to be reliable, be consistent, take good shots, but set other people up, run the team. Like, that was my responsibility. And I was playing in a system that was very controlled. Being able to go to Switzerland, rediscover my offensive creativity, kind of have a chance to fall in love with basketball again.
Now, Switzerland, not a bad place to live while you're playing basketball. And then for you, it must have been amazing because you're bilingual. You have an Austrian citizenship as well. So, I mean, were you super comfortable over there kind of to start?
All of a sudden, you're in a new country and you're 3,000 miles away from your family, and you're surrounded by people you've never met before, and you don't have Wi-Fi yet, but you also don't have a European phone number. But I loved it. Yeah. I absolutely loved it. I had my own apartment. The team was wonderful. The coaching staff was great. The organization was incredibly supportive. I was there with Taylor Coonan from UNC, and she's now one of my best friends, but she hasn't traveled as much as me. And she's like, you're just so comfortable everywhere. She's like, you speak to everybody, and it's easier for me because I speak French, but you speak to everybody, and on your stories, you're like going to the farmer's market. I love the interactions. I love the coffee, the shops, the way that like you are always around people. You always go, you're like, okay, well, we just got done with practice, our morning practice, let's go get coffee together. Okay, I'll see you in 2 hours. We'll do that, and then we'll go get drinks afterwards. So like that kind of thing was just amazing for me, and I love that because I'm not super social, but like having the opportunity to like do those little things with people that you don't really do here in the US, because it always feels, or in Canada, because it always feels like you're on the go.
Yes.
You always have somewhere to be, or something to think about, or something to work on, and then you're out in this thing and you see these same people drinking coffee at this place for 3 hours every day. And I was like, wow, I think I could really just stay here in Europe. I think I could do this. It seems like a pretty nice life.
Now, how much did your family help you through all of this? Because you come from a basketball family. Your dad was a coach. Little sister is also coming up and playing the game. So how was it to be able to kind of rely on that, again, when you're on the other side of the world, if you need somebody different to talk about the game?
My family is incredibly supportive and so unbelievably frustrating all at the same time because of that basketball knowledge.
Ooh, yeah, okay.
They just know, like, like it's like they'll say something. I'm like, guys, I am 22 years old. I'm a professional. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, my mom goes, so like you should just like, try to get a double-double. I'm like, thanks, Mom. Good advice. I think I will finally try to go out there and get a double-double. And you know what the crazy thing was? And she'll never let me live this down. The next game I went out and got a double-double. And she thinks it's all her. It's all her. All her
told
credit.
you I knew what I was talking about.
Yeah, she's like, why did it? You see, you just had to try. And I was like, okay, thanks, Mom.
No, I could see how that would be. And then, how about your other basketball family, the Canada basketball family? Because I know there's so many vets playing overseas, and a lot of them in France, but they were kind of just everywhere across Europe. Was there anybody that you were in contact with consistently? Is there someone who was, the one right there to kind of help you along? It must be helpful to have that kind of supporting cast alongside yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it was really good because Team Canada was doing a really good job of getting us all connected once a month. So we were talking on being able to see everybody, like catch up, talk about seasons, talk about injuries, talk about all these things. And it was kind of like almost we did our business, and afterwards it was almost like a therapy session of we just got to unload it all, which was really nice. But somebody who has really been reaching out to me and kind of, checking on me was always Niall. She's known me for forever. My dad used to coach at SFU, like back when I was in middle school. So I actually would work out with her and watch her play. And honestly, like, who could have thought? Now we're playing on the Olympic team together, but like I'm this little gangly, like front bangs, braces, like, and I'm just like out there playing with them all the time. And then I came to Team Canada. She goes, "Wait, I know you." I go, "Yeah, you do." and so she has been, reaching out to me and checking in and just wishing me luck and everything. And that has been really, really special for sure.
So that's somebody who played in the WNBA and now has almost kind of taken a step back from there as well. So, maybe talk to me about that. And we see it also on the NBA side where, maybe having a little bit more comfort or guaranteed option overseas may actually be better than the pro situation in North America.
I've already signed for my next season.
Okay.
So I'm heading to Belgium. I already know where I'm going. I'll be playing with Castor Brain in Belgium as long as everything, works out and I'm able to get there. So having that peace of mind of, okay, well, like this is my dream and this is, a big part and I want to get this done. But in the back of my head, I know, okay, but it's okay. Like if it doesn't work, I still have a job. You do it because you love it and because it's a pride thing. You're like, I'm here, I'm doing it, and it's this great opportunity. I'm proving it. I'm in the WNBA. But as you see with like Breanna Stewart and Diana Taurasi and all these who go over there and they play and they go, and what happened, this is crazy with me, Breanna Stewart, gets injured in Russia. And people are, "Oh, why are you playing in Russia?" And she goes, "Guys, I make $900,000 in Russia. Why am I playing in the US?" Like,
yeah.
and so it's that moment of like, it's like we're here because we love it and we love this organization. We love what it means for the women and the world and all of this stuff. And we play really hard and it's a dream and it's the top echelon, right? But having that in the back of our mind that we have that job security over in Europe is for sure a very calming factor in all of this.
That's really, really great insight to get out there to the next generation of, women basketball players. And that's something I want to ask you about is, so when I last crossed paths with you, it was at a Canada basketball camp where some of these young girls were coming in for the first time. So Aaliyah Edwards, Letitia Amaher, Alyssa Jerome, Shayna Pellington. All four of them end up in the Final Four this past year. And obviously you had great success at NC State as well. How cool was it to kind of be able to sit back and watch, not one Canadian, not two, but four Canadians, one on each team in the Final Four, how far the sport is coming?
I think it speaks volumes to the growth of Canada the basketball and the community of basketball in Canada in general. They're all from Ontario, so I would like to say we need some more BC people in there, but
I knew that was coming at some point.
Yeah, of course. But I love all of them. I've played with every single one of those girls on a team in Team Canada. So they're all amazing people. And being able to see that Canada basketball is not only growing, but it's getting recognized. And we're in these big moments doing all these things is super exciting. And I think it speaks volumes to the potential of where it could be, like having these conversations of, you're one of 4 WNBA players who are Canadian, and you go, "Oh, well, that sucks." Like, in the grand scheme, like that kind of sucks. Like, yes, it's wonderful. I'm so excited to be a part of it. But at the same time, we have such talent. We have all this stuff. We want it to grow, and seeing all these talented players in the NCAA being in these big moments and getting that recognition, I think is the first step to not ever having to have that conversation again of, well, you're one of 4. Well, listen, hopefully I'm going to be one of many.
Well, what's going to help that as well is what's coming up, the Olympics. And, already booked your ticket. The women's side is already on their way. What would it mean to you and to that collection of individuals to stand atop the podium?
The Olympics, same as WNBA, has been a dream. I mean, even maybe more so than the WNBA as a kid, because we didn't have that visibility. I never saw a Canadian really playing in the WNBA. To be completely honest, I never really saw a WNBA game because we didn't have coverage in Canada. But we always had the Olympics, and for me, it was more. Probably the Olympics came before, WNBA, because I saw it and I was like, I want to do that. I want to be there. So this is building up to a podium run, to winning a medal has been something that, has been talked about for the last 3 years that I've been with the team. And we've just been constantly, this is what we're building up. We're trying to get here. We're going to go to Tokyo. We're going to do a podium. That's our goal. And if we can actually experience that moment after all this preparation, all of that work, I think that'd be incredibly special.
Acelyn Koenig, they call you Ace, and I wish you nothing but continued success, not only in this camp, but in the years ahead. But, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you've already won in a lot of ways. And more importantly, you're such an inspiration. You brought up British Columbia, and I know the people out there, men and women, are looking up to you and what you've done. And, I look forward to kind of following along and reconnecting at some point. And if I don't talk to you, good luck getting ready for the Olympics and everything that you have going on.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Now, there's been a lot of talk about Canada basketball's last chance to qualify for the Olympics this summer on the men's side and which NBA players will be available. But the sooner we all start to understand how special our women's team is at this exact moment, the better. We have young stars in the NCAA, impact WNBA and international pros, along with veterans finishing their careers with a run to the podium. It's truly a special time for women's basketball in Canada, a launching point, if you will. And over the next few months, I am going to bring you as many of their stories as possible as they prepare for a tournament that they have been working towards for about 3 years now. Next, we head to Taiwan to check in with Kyle Julius, who's coaching in his second different country in the Far East, while also continuing to build what he started last year right here in the CEBL. KJ shoots from the hip. You want to stick around to get inspired. This is the NPH Hour on News Talk Saga 960 AM.